Hi, and welcome to the Temple's Corner here at Praise Temple of Baton Rouge. Our theme for the month of July is finding hope in his help. Yes, you heard it correctly, finding hope in his help. The Bible declares in Psalm 62, verse 5 through 6, "For God alone, my soul waits in silence and quietly submits to him. For my hope is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation, my fortress and my defense. I will not be shaken or discouraged." It is here in this psalm of confidence, this hymn of trust, that David is feeling the weight of the attacks from his enemies, but instead he decides to affirm his trust in God. Can I ask you a question? How are you handling the weight? Here it is in the text that we don't know the exact circumstances by which David is facing, but we understand and know obviously that his absolute trust is in God. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you're facing, and I certainly don't know all of your circumstances. But what I should know is the obvious trust that you have in God. David understands and knows that in this moment that there is no other help other than God, that any help outside of God is nothing but an illusion. David decides to remind the believer several times that the Lord, in fact, is his refuge and that he takes rest in him. David is having to patiently wait on God to deliver him and be silent at the same time. I know many of us are facing troubling seasons where we're having to be silent in this season and patiently wait on God. I want you to know and understand that in order to find hope in him, you got to find yourself in God. If I don't leave you with anything else, I want you to understand and I want you to know that faith is the antidote to despair. I want you to pay attention in the text that David decides that it's time for him to stop crying to God because he ultimately understands where the source of his strength comes from. David says in this text, and he wants us to understand the dependability that he has on God. Notice that David stops crying to God, but he doesn't stop crying out unto God. I want you to know on today that you got to stop complaining about your distress and begin to worship your way out of distress. Know here that we and every one of you who have partnered with us here at Praise Temple of Baton Rouge, we are finding hope in his help.